Did you know that Samsung is partnering with AMD?
No, I did not know this.
So AMD might potentially be in Exynos Samsung chips in the future.
Interesting. Gaming gaming specific Samsung phones.
Might be, yeah.
Because then it's not just about the hardware, it's also about slapping that name on the package.
Yeah.
Like in partnership with AMD. AMD is licensing its graphics technology to Samsung for use in its future mobile chips. Samsung will pay AMD for access to its newly announced RDNA graphics architecture. Interesting.
And it's interesting because AMD is like going on so many different services right now. They partnered up with PS4, like Sony, Xbox, um, Stadia as well recently.
They're
Like,
on a tear,
yeah.
taking over the planet.
So it's
Well,
really interesting that they're
listen,
going into
we've
mobile.
featured a number of gaming smartphones recently on the channel. But the thing about the gaming smartphones is like they may have some LEDs or some cooling or something like this, but the chipset is really the same thing you're getting on other flagship devices, right? Snapdragon 855 and everything that comes with it. So it's hard to differentiate and say, okay, this is the gaming smartphone in the same way that you can with, say, gaming laptops, in which you just point to the graphics card and say, okay, that's why
Right.
this is more capable. So if Samsung can actually deliver a smartphone that's technically more capable, I could see that being compelling to actually bust out, break out a tangible difference in a gaming phone that has more to do with hardware capability and less to do with flashy LED lighting and red and black cyborg skins. I'm sure it'll have all that too, for the record, because you got to have that, but maybe it'll actually be able to support. See, the trouble in the mobile gaming space is that when you develop a mobile game, you want it to be installed far and wide. So it's hard to make the hardware requirements super high for it, like you would with a typical PC game or a console game or something like this. So yeah, it's kind of a curious thing. You really need the titles to spur on the upgrades or the enthusiasm around this type of hardware. So it's almost like the better play, or maybe this is part of it. What you do is you sign this deal with AMD, and then at the same time, you cut a couple of deals with some developers, and you get a few titles, a few flagship titles, to really take advantage of the partnership and the hardware. And then you say you can only play these games
Right.
on this hardware, and now you got the gamers frothing at the mouth.
Yeah. Exclusive titles. It's always worked for Sony and Microsoft. So
Some people love it. Some people hate it. They're like, hey, man, everyone should have access. But it's really, I mean, it's one of the only ways to push the thing forward and to say, okay, here's the reason for the extra hardware. Here's the reason for the partnership. These titles that you want to play.